Hello and welcome to the video. It's me, Aiden, better known as Goattmeall, or most well known as the guy that likes to cry outside of Sports Direct. There's nothing I really love more than laughing at conservative rage, so today that's exactly what we're going to do. And what we're not going to do is talk about the big fat spot that's forming on my face. Or I got stung by a bee. I'm not sure what happened, but this is just red as anything right now. I'm Rudolph the bitch tits Goattmeall. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. So come along for the ride as this woke snowflake liberal reviews conservatives reviewing the Barbie movie. Now this movie has been directed by a femoid. It has a huge and incredibly diverse cast. It talks about the patriarchy and it's a critique on capitalism. And whilst being incredibly refreshing, it's also quite funny. Now it's not without its issues, of course, but what do all of those things mean? It means Ben Shapiro hates this movie. But I'm not just going to dunk on Ben Shapiro over and over again because that would be too easy, since he's only 5'6". But I will say, my favourite part of his whole review is the fact that whilst he's doing it, he looks like he's doing a terrible Ken doll cosplay. What the fuck is going on with this guy? He looks like he's a combination of the weird plastic surgery cat guy and like the Freddie Mercury wax doll from Poland. I mean, I'm not wrong, am I? Moving on. I'm not going to subject you to the entirety of every review that I look at. I'm just going to kind of give you a glimpse, a little tasting for what they are. You can go and look at them afterwards if you'd like to. I will link them below. But this is just to give you a flavour of the kind of things these people say. And to get through a couple of them in one video. Otherwise, this would be like an hour long and I just don't want to edit that. Also, just to say that this will include spoilers. But realistically, I guess since you've not seen the Barbie movie yet, you're either 1, not interested in it, or 2, you hate women. And I think it might be the second one. So let's get into these reviews. We're going to start with conservative mum YouTuber, Classically Abby. And we're starting with her because she really doesn't say anything in the entirety of her video.
The wokeness meter. How woke is this movie? Which is why they have a trans woman playing a Barbie. Attack on motherhood. Ask your mother how much she hated being your mom.
It's just all the word vomit. Woke, liberal, agenda, trans, toilets. What about the toilets? Who's using the toilet? But after all of that, at the end of her video, she kind of finishes it with this whole should you take a child to see this movie section. Let's watch.
Should you take your children to see this? I would actually legitimately ask that you don't.
What a surprise.
They will ultimately be unhappy. And this whole movie, it's about everything that you could do to be unhappy as a woman. And it champions those things, right? That was the point.
The movie literally ends with stereotypical Barbie, Margot Robbie, leaving Barbie world to kind of become her own person. It doesn't say any version of being a woman is right or wrong. It just says that you can become the person you want to be. Do whatever you want, you know, because you're a human. Which when you think about it, is really just a terrible lesson to teach young people. You've got to fit in a box. Choose a box and stick with it. You can't be out of a box. Box, 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 box. She also says this.
The movie is very glittery and shiny, and so could really make a little girl want to watch it again without realizing the lesson and the moral. And the moral of the story is not moral.
Okay, but the movie is a 12A. So I'm not saying 12-year-olds are geniuses, but I think 12-year-olds take a little bit more than something being shiny for them to want it, you know? Anyway, that review is getting a 3 out of 10. It's a little crazy, but it's nothing that my, head-drunk aunt wouldn't say at Christmas, you know? I've heard it all before. This next one is by Amala, who again says nothing and then comes out with this excellent take.
And just something that I thought was a funny note, this movie clearly hates capitalism, but also has within it very poorly done product placement for the 2024 Chevy Blazer.
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
I mean, it sticks out like a sore thumb. I wonder how much money they made off of that within our capitalist system.
Why have iPhone if capitalism bad? Another 3 out of 10. I'm not even going to give it any more attention. Give me some vigor. You've got to really mean what you're saying. I don't feel like you even give a shit. You're sat by a tree. And I know I said I was going to review these reviews, but it's very hard when there is nothing of substance to actually review. You're getting a 3 out of 10, Amala, because you couldn't even muster up enough anger to make this entertaining for me. And for this next one, I have something to admit. I lied when I said I'm not going to talk about Ben Shapiro anymore. It's just so good. It's just so good. He's a failed screenwriter, so him reviewing any kind of movie is just inherently funny because you know it comes from a deep, dark place of absolute hatred for the people that made that film happen. But in this review, he shows why he failed as a screenwriter. This guy does not understand how characters work, or how character development is important to making characters interesting.
Just by the way, it only sets up the only good line of the film. Truly, in my opinion, there's one good line in the film, and that is where Barbie is trying to contemplate whether she's a fascist or not, and she says, "I don't control the railways or the flow of commerce." Now, there's only one problem with that line, as with the entire movie. There is no character consistency. Barbie is supposed to be an idiot bubblehead piece of plastic from Barbie land. How does she know what a fascist is? How does she know about the flow of commerce? Like, again, just in terms of character consistency, like characters who actually...
What a dumb fuck. Barbie exists in a bubble. Once she starts to see that bubble cracking, she changes. She becomes a different version of herself. She has developed. It's not that hard of a concept to understand, Benny boy. I think if Ben Shapiro made a movie, it would just be a never-ending story where no character learns a single lesson and they keep repeating themselves over and over and over and over. They just keep rehashing the same points, hoping someone new will come along, hoping some lesson will be learned, but nothing ever changes. To be fair, it does kind of sound like Ben Shapiro's life. Shapiro, my love, you're getting a 6 out of 10 because it was a car crash. I couldn't help but look and sort of talk about it for a while. But it ain't a 10 out of 10 because, you know, I need real desk smashing, people throwing stuff, deluded, like Alex Jones level stuff for it to be a 10 out of 10. Up next, a melted pig. Let's talk about Piers, baby. Let's talk about the human centipede. Piers Morgan talks about how this is not just an attack on Ken, but it's an attack on men.
So, fantastic plastic feminist icon or sexist claptrap. With the movie's outrageously dismissive tagline, she is everything, he is just Ken. Has Barbie actually done a full 180? Is she now anti, not just Ken, but men?
Oh no, did a movie focus on a woman instead of a man? Oh, that's so hard. It's an attack on men. It's just not fair. It's an attack on men. In this 10-minute long segment, only 2 minutes are spent actually talking about the Barbie movie. The other 2 minutes are saying how it's a piece of man-hating media. We shouldn't love it. It's disrespectful. It's disgusting. I hate it. You look like Eva Evangelista. And the following 8 minutes are just prime Piers Morgan, because you know it's not a Piers piece until this happens.
All right, you mentioned gender.
God, you can see when he smells the blood. He just hears the word gender and he's immediately like, gender ideology, we have to talk about gender ideology. Because of course, you know, it's Piers Morgan, what do you expect? He's like a loud and repetitive animated can of spam. In this 8-minute long rant about gender ideology that he gets involved with, he says the classic line,
Well, you can have 120,000 genders, as many as you like. Only women can get pregnant.
One joke Morgan, you're getting a 2 out of 10. Because he only spends 2 minutes actually reviewing the Barbie movie. It's a hate crime on men. And then for no related reason, he just starts having a go at trans people. Just stay on one subject at a time, Piers, please. Next up is somebody called Misha, who I think could end up being my favourite considering the lack of media comprehension skills that she has. Every single plot point just goes whoosh. They're just flying past her. She does not recall a single thing that happens in this movie correctly throughout this whole review.
The jokes start. The theater was packed. There were kids, which I didn't expect. This movie's PG-13, and I don't think children should really go see it. Like young kids, I don't think this is an appropriate movie for many reasons. The most obvious reason being that this is a bunch of feminist, woke propaganda, but no one was laughing at the jokes. I didn't find the jokes funny. One example I can think of is when Ken is at the beach, and beach is like his thing, right? And he goes, "Oh, I'm gonna beat you off," to another Ken. Get it? Beach. He just says it over and over again. One Ken to another. It's like, oh, okay. It's not funny.
Again, it's a 12A. There's not supposed to be young children there that aren't with an adult. If the adult's chosen to take them there, that's just a parent choosing to introduce their kids to certain things. I thought you conservatives were A-okay with parents choosing what to do with their child. And also, it's a silly throwaway joke. Why are you in a cinema deliberately trying to not have a good time? The beat you off joke in the whole movie is funny, okay? It just is. But it's pretty throwaway. Like, I don't know why you're pretending to get so annoyed at it.
Sasha is already a modern-day woke feminist who is miserable. Sasha's a tween. She's young, she's angsty, and she says, "Barbie, you ruined everything for women," right? She talks about sexualized capitalism and how Barbie set the feminist movement back. And she's just really upset with Barbie. She even calls her a fascist towards the end, which was, great.
Very insightful take. You really took the movie down a peg or two. I gotta say, that is some excellent insight. You should think about stand-up with that kind of observation. This next part is just, dumb.
He comes and he says, oh guys, actually you should all be my slaves. And they're just like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. What? I thought they were geniuses, and I thought all the Kens were idiots. It doesn't make sense.
Huh? In the movie, the Barbies aren't geniuses. They're just main characters in that world. The world is very much focused on them, which is a replica of what the toy is like in this world. It's all about the Barbie. That's why there's so many different types of Barbie. The Ken is very much a side character. You understand that this movie is a comment on society, right? In the movie, the women, the Barbies, are the focus of the society. And the Ken dolls are just the side pieces. They're just there to be looked at aesthetically. They do beach. You know how like in the real world, the opposite is seen to be true. Like yes, it's a hyperbolic version of what happens in the real world, where men are the main characters of society and women are there to just look good and be quiet and get on with life. Don't think you're so stupid as to miss that that's the whole thing Greta was going for. Yes, it's slightly on the nose. Yes, it's hyperbolic. Yes, it's exaggerated. It's a movie! That's how things work!
She, changes her outfit, no more pink, no more glamour. So now I guess she's girl boss Barbie, so she has to change everything about herself to be successful. Good message again. And that's the end of the movie. I thought it was a waste of time, a waste of money. I didn't like it. I'd probably give it like a 3. And yeah, that's what I think. I've had bad luck with the movies I've seen in general recently.
That is because you are a desperately sad person who is incapable of enjoying things unless they cater to your very niche and specific political beliefs. Come over to the dark side. It is much more fun being on this side of the fence than it is on yours, I promise you that. Anyway, I'm not going to get up on my soapbox. That's enough of that. Misha, you're getting a 0.5 because that was truly dreadful and I kind of loved it. And I think that's going to do it because I can't take any more. Ultimately, the Barbie movie is a fun movie with a generally good message to show young people. You can be anything you want to be. It doesn't matter what societal standards are because societal standards, excuse my French, are baloney. This has been fun. Click the like button, please. Please click subscribe. I'm nearly at 100 subscribers, which is, I didn't think I'd get there this soon. I only launched the channel like 2 weeks ago. That's pretty good going. Please check me out on all the socials. It's Goattmeall everywhere with 2 T's and 2 L's. I have a website which you can check out, goattmeall.com. There's not a lot on there right now, but there will be. And that's kind of it. Love you. Goodbye. Mwah. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I don't know what I'm doing.